Hello everyone, this is my first video and I wanted to make something I know I enjoy doing in my spare time. Most of the time during WoW I raid, but I do like the challenge of farming various different dungeons and locations just to see what I can do in the solo setting. Started out in Classic Relaunch with the Mage and got hooked on the overpowered abilities they had to do soloing various dungeons, and follow that in the Wrath with my Paladin. Plan on making more of these videos in the future, so to show off the Paladin's ability to farm different areas through WoW and maybe future expansions. So let's get into it. So here's my gear. A lot of it is really big tank gear for phase 2, but you really don't need all this. I would say that Dark Moon Greatness card there is definitely a must. It definitely helps clears quite a bit and makes things go a lot easier. Definitely not double stam or tank trinkets. You could probably almost not even have a secondary tank trinket and just use something else in its place. That would be a little more like ret oriented, but definitely the Dark Moon card greatness. I do like to use the Librama Resurgence. It's probably not necessarily needed, but I like the little extra spell power that Consecrate gives. The Essence of Gossamer, I would definitely say if you're having trouble, definitely grab that. It's just a dungeon heroic. Some of the things I like to use is the Flask of the Worm and the Scroll of Strength, and then the last one is going to be the Dragonfin Fillet. Those three things definitely seem to help quite a bit, and I do think it helps make the run go a lot smoother. So. And then going into my glyphs, I do tank on this guy, so I got the Seal of Vengeance. You don't need that. I do the Sense of glyph of Sense of Undead, and make sure you got the tracking on. Holy Wrath is definitely a must. You definitely need to have that. And then Glyph of the Divine Plea just to help with the little more beefy and tankness and mitigation. Here's my talents. You don't necessarily have to follow these down to a T. These are just plain tank talents. You can notice I don't have Sociism, which is the stun effect. Realistically, if you're starting to get stunned, you're just gonna kind of, not get very far anyway. So, but I am a human. I do have the Will of Survive to help out occasionally, so it's definitely nice. Again, some of these other ones here are nice. Definitely Seal of Command, definitely Crusade for that extra movement speed and damage. So those things definitely help out as well. These are my macros. I do use a one button macro, which definitely helps quite a bit. I will say that there is a special way to get into the raid. You do not necessarily need someone in your party. That macro right there helps. And then this is my one button macro I was mentioning. I will put both those macros down in the description below so that way everybody can see everything. This one button macro really here is just very basic. It just rotates from the main abilities like the Holy Shield and a few others there. I will say it does not include Glyph of the it does not include the Holy Wrath glyph. So I do use Kiwi Farm. I do believe I didn't have it on here, but it's definitely nice to have. Just if you're gonna do your auction prices, make sure you go in there, and these are kind of my settings I use. I don't have disenchanting on here. I normally send all my DE stuff over to my DE tune, so that definitely helps. Most of the time, like the epics and stuff aren't really worth DEing anyway, so it's just the greens and sometimes the blues, but most of the time the blues you can just sell out pretty well. So let's move towards the dungeon. Obviously, if you have the key, you can go that way. You do not need the key. There is a special back end way here that still works to this day, and you don't need to worry about this being against terms of service or anything like that. It's perfectly okay to use. It's not gonna get you banned or anything like that. But pretty much you want to just come behind here where the graveyard is, which is right over there, and then you're gonna want to drop down here. And this little tiny crack, you just get off your mount and just kind of fall down in there, take a little damage. You actually see this nice little Easter egg that Blizzard threw in there for you. So as you're going into the instance here, I just start clicking my raid macro there, and you'll kind of see that in my chat box real quick and briefly that it just turned me into a raid and tried to invite some random person, and it allowed me to get in without actually being in the party with anyone else. So I normally use Devo Aura. Sometimes you can use some of the other auras like Flame and Shadow, but you definitely want to try to keep on the Seal of Vengeance or Seal of Light, Seal of Command. Those are the big ones. Definitely stick with Seal of Vengeance as your primary, and then if you're starting to lose health, make sure you put on the Seal of Light. This is where I start buffing up and such, just to kind of help out with the damage and everything like I mentioned before. So depending on your server, the Netherweave Spider Silk here can go for a decent price. You can kind of see there from my my auction TSM that my server right now is actually not too bad. It's about anywhere between 5 to 8 gold. So this is just a real quick clear in this section here. It doesn't take much time. Surprisingly, these mobs don't seem to stun. I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but they do not seem to stun like the other guys. Maybe because they're not undead, or maybe because Blizzard didn't think people would farm it too much, but so on. You can kind of see there I'm kind of hovering over the Sacred Shield. Like I said, they don't really stun, but later on they will start stunning once you get to the other types of mobs. And the nice thing is there is a 60-second timer before they start actually stunning if you don't kill them. So Blizzard somehow nicely set it that Sacred Shield to be exactly 60 seconds. So if you pop that right before you run and just start going in, you normally kind of got a good idea of exactly when they're going to start stunning and such. So but yeah, I just pull all the spiders in briefly in this one little room, and I just start AOing them down, as you can see. As you notice, I start using my wings, and I'll start using my 1-button macro, and I don't really sit here and focus too much. I'm tanky enough to where I can sit here and just tab target and just keep pressing that number 1 button. They all just slowly start to go down without me having to worry about too much things. And as you can see, I completely forgot to actually start Kiwi Farm. It would kind of give you an idea of how much gold you're going to make here. And be honest, it's anywhere between 500 gold to 1,000. I know that seems like a bit of a stretch, but it really depends on your server and how things work on the auction house there. So. Yeah, so these are kind of the big add-ons I like to use. Leatrix Plus is definitely a nice one. It helps do the speedy loot. So if you type that in, you can actually go over here into the system, I believe, and there's fast auto loot. Turn that on, and max camera zoom. Those are definitely ones you want to kind of throw in there as well. You can kind of just see the rundown of what I got there in my settings. So this is the start of the main run here. So you'll see that I kind of use this path here that's been seen before, maybe by a few other people. I just kind of like to start where I'm at here, just go straight over and kind of shift through them all with a few abilities and go into the next room. I will say, you know, pre-buff a little bit, kind of start here, just throw out a AoE, and you can just start. I do bubble, just to kind of make it friendly for me. It's not necessarily required, but it definitely helps out a little bit. I just come around to this corner here, just jump on that ledge real quick, and just start the kill phase. Fortunately, I'm not the perfect farmer, but you really don't need to be great, as you can see. So this is more of like just a casual guide to this, but just always be making sure that you're doing that one but macro if you're going to use it that way, which is great. And then every single time Holy Wrath is up, use that. Additionally, always try to use Avenger's Shield as much as possible as well. Throwing those 2 extras, which are not in the one button macro that I got, definitely help quite a bit. As you can see there, I got stunned real quick, so that's one of those 60-second timers. It looks like when 1 or 2 of the mobs actually hit that over that time period. So after we're done, we're going to run up these stairs here, and heal up a little bit, and we're going to start the second part of the run. There is about 3 to 4 different mob pools in here that I use, which definitely pretty much helps the whole run for the most part, in my opinion. Yeah. So I'll throw up my Holy Shield like usual, and I'll just start running through. Do a couple abilities just to throw some stuff, do a Holy Wrath to stun them all, and then come through here. The 2 skeletons over there, if you think you're confident enough to go ahead and grab them during this phase, you're more than welcome to. They do seem to do a little bit more damage to people who have a little less gear, and additionally they do stun you into like an ice thing, which can almost kill you if you're not careful. So if you do decide to pull them, make sure that you are ready and aware, and make sure you have some type of like PvP trinket, or maybe even your will to survive like you saw I just had to use there. If your bubble's up, you can also use that to kind of mitigate yourself out of that stun, which helps a lot as well. But pulling those guys with the group, I would say, is almost a must if you want to conserve time and get the best clear time as possible. Additionally, there's some more mobs off to the corner there that I kind of disregarded. If you feel a little more comfortable with your pool, or if you have rocket boots or something like that, you're more than welcome to just go over there and grab them real quick. It only takes a couple seconds, and it's well within your means and ease to grab those guys and make a little extra gold or pull extra few guys with it. Usually avoid those guys. There's no point in pulling them and just become cumbersome, so just watch out for the pat. Right here, I just go and grab these guys with a AoE, and then I come over this side, do the same thing, and just turn my back to the wall and just start the kill phase as well. So this is the 3rd set of packs. There'll be 2 more, I believe, after this. Also, you don't have to worry about that skeletal usher coming down and trying to nab you. I've never had him even once come down and get me, regardless what skills I use or where I'm at. Now, I will say you do need a lot of bag space, so if you are an engineer, that really helps a lot, because you can use mail. You can mail off things. But this is the next pool. You should just do a quick Holy Wrath, and then on that other pack, just throw my shield at them, and I just come over here and get in this little hole, and I start doing the DPS and kill phase. There are some mobs here that you want to kind of be a little bit careful of. It's those skeletons. They will turn you into a skeleton with a debuff, and occasionally it will actually completely remove your armor. But most of the time, even so, the amount of block you have should help mitigate that damage that you would be taking. If you're taking a little too much damage here, you can switch to the fire ore, kind of like I did. It's not necessary, but if you feel like it helps out, that's good. So this next part, if you want to, you can technically pull this room. It is a little more advanced and they do a little more damage. I usually ignore it because the amount of items that drops from these guys does seem to be a little less, so I just bypass and jump off the ledge, and here at the very last pool. So I'll pull these last few guys. And there's a reason why we jump down here and pull these last few guys, just because it helps out with the pool and allows us to continue to make a little extra, and last it we can repair here shortly, and I'll show you that, which allows us to continue. Yeah, if you farm this enough or whatnot, this guy Corin, he actually is a blacksmith. He'll actually allow you to repair and sell off some of the junk that you have that you don't need, which is really helpful. Yeah, so sell off some of the stuff doesn't auto vend like I have, but like those soul essences. Some servers, those actually sell decently. Mine is never sold, even regardless of the price. It seems halfway decent. They do take forever, so I just ignore those for the most part. I do save my lock boxes and such, but after we're done, that's really the end of the pool. These stable hands and stuff like that, if you feel like going at it, go for it. They are a little pain in the butt. They do fear, they do stuns, so they're not really worth it in my opinion. I just kind of run out the sacred shield on, and just they allow me to just get through and just restart. And that's mostly the run there. Go ahead and reset, and then you can go ahead and start again, regardless how you want. I will say one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that these netherweave cloths, it's actually a lot more gold if you actually turn those into heavy netherweave bandages and sell them all off. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 6 gold a stack, maybe 8 gold a stack. I can't remember off the top of my head. That's the end of the run. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this, leave me comments below. Try to give y'all some more stuff in the future. So thank you and have a great one.